Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's Jawah al-Quran wa Durr. The Jews of the Quran and its pairs. We have arrived at the very last selection of this surah, a lengthy one, and we have tried to cover the themes in between the selections, that the jewels that Imam Ghazali, the pairs that Imam Ghazali selected and highlighted. And as a reminder, Imam Ghazali did not explain why he chose these verses, and by attempting to highlight the interpretation, what scholars said about these verses, the relevant prophetic traditions, we might understand, of course, why Imam Ghazali selected these jewels or pairs. The very last selection, we talk about verses 125 to 128. And in the last session, we ended by talking about Satan not having authority over the believers and those who depend, they put trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rather, his authority is with those who over those who obey him, follow him, and they associate through this relationship with Satan. They associate with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This relationship with Satan, any relationship, any positive relationship with Satan, if you reject Satan, of course you are on the right track. Accepting Satan anyway, it means immediately shirk. Associate, it's an association, it's a shirk with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now there's a theme, the in-between, about the language of the Qur'an, whether the Qur'an is revealed. Of course, for those who know Arabic, they know that it is not comparable to anything in existence. It's not comparable to any Arabic literature. It's not you cannot compare it really to poetry, to prose, and if we just read the couple of verses that are related to this issue, 102 and 103, we'll be able to understand, inshallah, what's going on. أعوذ بالله السميع من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وإذا بدلنا آية مكان آية والله أعلم بما ينزل قالوا إنما أنت مفتر بل أكثرهم لا يعلمون. When we replace a verse with another, and Allah knows best what He reveals, they say, you, meaning Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet, you are just a fabricator. In fact, most of them do not know. قل نزله روح القدس من ربك بالحق ليثبت الذين آمنوا وهدى وبشرى المسلمين. Say, the Holy Spirit, Spirit of the Holy, Jibreel alayhi salam, Gabriel, the Archangel, has brought it down from your Lord with the truth to reassure the believers and to sing as a guide and good news for those who submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Either the Qur'an is revealed or man-made. The Prophet ﷺ was illiterate. Typically, this when with the average person, this is not flattering, but it is in the case of the Prophet ﷺ, because it means one thing: he could not have come up with the Quran. any book written by the followers, for example, of any prophet, of anyone really, would mention the prophet, would mention the person about whom the book is written. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is mentioned in the Quran 5 times by name, 4 times as Muhammad, and once as Ahmad, total 5. Prophet Moses, peace upon him, is mentioned in the Quran 136 times. 136 times by name. There are other verses about Prophet Moses by name. Prophet Moses is mentioned 136 times. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is mentioned only 5 times. Obviously, it's not a self-centered book. It's not a self-centered book. Very simple. Compare this if you go to the New International Version of the Bible. The name Jesus is mentioned 1,310 times in the New Testament. Again, compare this to the Quran. We know that the authors of these of the New Testament, they have written these versions much later on, after the Jesus Christ, peace upon him, after he was raised from amongst his followers. He was neither killed nor crucified. But at any rate, in beginning with the year 70, around that period and beyond, 1,310 times. So that's one way of looking at the text of the Quran. Another thing is that it is Arabic. Okay. وَلَقَدْ نَعْلَمُ أَنَّهُمْ يَقُولُونَ إِنَّمَا يُعَلِّمُهُ بَشَرٌ لسان الذي يلحدون إليه أعجمي وهذا لسان عربي مبين. And we surely know that they say no one is teaching him except a human, but the man they refer to speaks a foreign tongue, أعجمي, not Arabic, whereas the Quran is in eloquent Arabic, مبين, a clear message. Many years ago, we held an interfaith dialogue session at PASIA, an NGO, a think tank in Jerusalem, Muslim, Christian, Palestinian Muslims and Christians, and one of the Catholic priests said that the Quran had linguistic, grammatical mistakes. And of course, the Muslim scholars who are present, they know very well that there is no such a thing in the Quran. Later on, Unfortunately, this led to the uh, end of that group, of that interfaith group. Thereafter, I asked Professor Ibrahim Al-Alam, a Palestinian Christian, a professor of Arabic, and a literary figure. He also is a novelist. I told him about what happened, and for your knowledge, Professor Ibrahim Al-Alam used to teach Arabic through the Qur'an. Again, he's a Christian professor of Arabic, but he used to teach university students Arabic through the Quran as the highest source of Arabic language. And when I informed about what happened, he told me absolutely not. There's not a single mistake in the Quran. And the translation, because it's a translation of the Bible into Arabic is loaded with mistakes, linguistic mistakes. So وهذا لسان عربي مبين. One can it's always the Quranic language, if you will. If you learn the Quran, if you understand the Quran, you would know immediately when talk about this. It does not fit into any genre that exists in Arabic literature, neither in the past nor at this moment, and of course it will never be the case in the future. In fact, there is a challenge. Suffice it, inshallah, what we have just said. So we'll try to move forward in order to reach verse 125, which is we have just mentioned interfaith dialogue. In fact, verse 125, ادع إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة وجادلهم بالتي هي أحسن إن ربك هو أعلم بمن ضل عن سبيله وهو أعلم بالمهتدين وهو أعلم بالمهتدين. Invite all to the way of your Lord with wisdom and kind advice, and only debate with them in the best manner. Surely your Lord alone knows best who has strayed from his way, from Allah's way, and who is rightly guided. This is addressing the Prophet ﷺ to use to dialogue, to use the best possible, the most appropriate language in calling people to the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We do have the verse ولا تجادل أهل الكتاب إلا بالتي هي أحسن إلا الذين ظلموا منهم, and do not debate, do not dialogue, do not address the people of the book except with that which is best possible fashion. إلا الذين ظلموا منهم, except those who have been unjust in every arch enemies, if you will. And it would be a striking example to learn, of course, that prophets Moses and Aaron, سيدنا موسى, سيدنا هارون عليهما السلام. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked them to use lenient language, statement, methodology, tone in addressing the Pharaoh, so that he might remember, so that he might be God conscientious, so that he would accept and submit to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One a professor, a Muslim professor from South Africa, he wrote, like it is published on his website, he said he could have, like many academics, they might say something controversial. So he wrote, I'm not worse than the Pharaoh, and you are not better than Moses. This is what he wrote, I think, if I remember well. This is what he told me. And meaning that if Prophet Moses, peace upon him, who definitely is better than all of us, meaning we don't include Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, for example, and he's from the Ulil Azm min Rusul. So you, the critic, you are not better than Prophet Moses, peace upon him. I'm not worse than the Pharaoh. So address me with an appropriate language, with a lenient language. قولا لين. So using wisdom, invite all to the way of your Lord with wisdom and kind advice, and only debate with them in the best manner, the most beautiful. موعظة حسنة, that's husn, that's beauty. وجادلهم بالتي هي أحسن, that's beauty, husn. Surely your Lord alone knows best who has strayed from his way and who is rightly guided. If you retaliate, then let it be equivalent to what you have suffered. وإن عاقبتم فعاقبوا مثل ما عوقبتم به ولئن صبرتم لهو خير للصابرين. If you retaliate, then let it be equivalent to what you have suffered. But if you patiently endure, meaning do not retaliate, it is certainly best for those who are patient. واصبر وما صبرك إلا بالله ولا تحزن عليهم ولا تك في ضيق مما يمكرون. Be patient. That's still addressing the Prophet ﷺ. For your patience is only with Allah's help. Do not grieve over those who disbelieve, nor be distressed by their schemes, by their plots, by their deception. For verily, surely, Allah is with those who shun evil and who do good deeds. إن الله مع الذين اتقوا والذين هم محسنون. So we can see that the notion of husn has been, it's being graceful. It's being, if you are graceful, you have the upper hand. We have known how the Prophet ﷺ, his sunnah, how he dealt with those who made mistakes, those who even those who sinned, with his with those who made mistakes, like really grave sins, like drinking alcohol. There was a companion who was brought time and again to the Prophet ﷺ for drinking after the total final prohibition of drinking alcohol. And another companion cursed the companion who drank alcohol. And the Prophet ﷺ reprimanded the companion who cursed, the sinner, if you will. And he said something extremely beautiful. He said, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, إنه يحب الله ورسوله كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم. He loves Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He loves his prophet. Yes, he has this problem, and this teaches us how to deal with sinners. For all the children of Adam are sinners, and the best of sinners are the repenters. كل ابن آدم خطاء وخير الخطائين التوابون. The Prophet ﷺ, one of the he was mistreated. He was hurt. The Meccans really killed many of his companions. They persecuted him. They boycotted him. He suffered in the valley, Sha'b Abi Talib, a valley on the outskirts of Mecca. 3 years of total boycott. No social relations, no marriage, no trade, no food. They starved. So much so that one of the companions grounded a piece of dead skin and he sifted that with water. And the Meccans followed the Prophet ﷺ all the way to Medina. It was a zero-sum game. The Meccans, the idol worshippers, the pagans, wanted to eradicate this nascent Muslim community. First of all, Badr, then Uhud, then Al-Khandaq, the trench. All of these are in either in the vicinity of Medina or literally the outskirts of Medina or immediately surrounding the Medina, like the trench. And we talk about the Meccan idol worshippers, the pagans. They traveled some, few hundred kilometers to the north. It was a zero-sum game. They want to eradicate Muslims. So what did the Prophet ﷺ do when he conquered Mecca? It was practically a general amnesty. He said, today, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may He forgive me and forgive you. Same people who try to kill him. This is so he did not punish them, though he had the reason. They killed his uncle Hamza. The Prophet ﷺ was so hurt when Hamza was killed. And if I recall very well, it's Wahshi who killed him. And Wahshi later on became a Muslim. And the Prophet ﷺ, accepted his Islam, but understandably, the Prophet ﷺ did not want to see Wahshi because he reminded him of his uncle, and they mutilated Hamza. And there are even more graphic details about the mutilation. But he had the patience Be patient, addressing the Prophet ﷺ. For your patience is only with Allah's help. Do not grieve over those who disbelieve, nor be distressed by their schemes. So, we can see that sometimes the Messianic settlers in Palestine pursuing this zero-sum game is very dangerous. And we just pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will lead people of all backgrounds to the right path, to protect the innocent everywhere, to guide people, and to prevent those who have ill intentions. Until the next session, inshallah. Subhanakallah wa bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.